In the sweltering midday heat on a quiet road in the outskirts of New York, a 14-year-old black girl, Maya Collins, stopped beside a smoking Mustang GT. She looked unremarkably a wrinkled school uniform, an old backpack, neatly tied curly hair, but Maya was the one brave enough to approach and help a frustrated Manhattan millionaire whose fancy car wouldn't start. The man was Daniel Kingsley, the only son of one of the most powerful real estate families in the United States. With a dismissive look, he told her to step away because this wasn't some toy car. What he didn't know was that this small act of disdain would unravel everything his family had built. Because just minutes later, Daniel stood frozen, not because Maya fixed the car, but because of the red ruby ring on her finger. That ring wasn't just jewelry. It was evidence. A link to a forgotten past, a crack in the marble mask his family had worn for decades. It was the first step in the fall of the Kingsley Empire. Maya, quiet but observant, had grown up in the shadows of systems that ignored her. Raised by her Uncle James, a mechanic with a heart bigger than the garage he owned, Maya learned to listen to people, to engines, to silences that said more than words. Her mother, who passed the previous year, had given her the ruby ring and told her it was from someone special. That one day it would mean something. That day had come. As Daniel arrogantly dismissed her help, Maya calmly pointed out the problem: a coolant leak, clearly visible to her practiced eye. She offered to help. He refused. She helped anyway. And when she leaned under the hood, hands stained with engine grease and courage, Daniel saw the ring. It struck him like a lightning bolt. A ring from the past. A ring he'd once seen worn by a girl named Layla, Maya's mother. Daniel's mind raced. The Kingsleys had once funded a now-defunct orphanage called Haven House. He remembered visiting with his mother, remembered a little girl clinging to his arm. He remembered promising to come back. He never did. Maya told him her mother's name was Layla Collins. Daniel nearly dropped his keys. The ruby ring remembered it. He had stolen it from his father's safe and given it to Layla as a promise. It had vanished along with her when Haven House shut down mysteriously. Daniel offered Maya a ride home. Along the way, he asked cautious questions. Her answers only confirmed his fears. He dropped her off, gave her his card, and told her to call him if she ever wanted to know more about her mother. Maya tucked the card into her backpack, unsure if she'd ever use it. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He broke into his father's study, found old files labeled HH Project, Asset Management, and discovered documents that made him sick. Children were labeled like products. Notes like, retained for genetic testing, suitable as contingency, Collins, L, relocated. Do not trace. Layla had been erased. Daniel called a lawyer he trusted, and together they began digging. The deeper they looked, the worse it got. His father, Malcolm Kingsley, had orchestrated a genetic backup heir program using orphans. Maya, it turned out, was the child they couldn't erase. Layla had fled with her, aided by a nurse named Carla who was later found dead under suspicious circumstances. Maya, unknowingly, held the key to a scandal that could destroy one of the richest families in the country. When Maya opened her mother's old journal, she found pages of warnings, lists of names, and references to the Gemini Initiative. A week later, Daniel returned to Maya's neighborhood. He brought photos, DNA results, and his mother's old letters. The test confirmed it. Maya was his half-sister. Together, they planned. Maya, once overlooked, now became the center of a storm that would shake Wall Street. They partnered with investigative journalists, lawyers, and victims. At a press conference meant to announce the Kingsleys' newest luxury project, Daniel hijacked the podium. He revealed everything: the orphanage cover-up, the human experimentation, the falsified deaths. Maya joined him, standing tall in her uniform, holding her mother's journal. The media exploded. The FBI raided Kingsley Tower within 48 hours. Malcolm was arrested. Dozens of executives were subpoenaed. The stock plummeted. Maya, once just a girl with a backpack and some tools, became a symbol. She founded the Layla Foundation to support children in the system. Daniel changed his name, disowning the Kingsley legacy. He became Daniel Collins, honoring the sister he never knew he had. A year later, Maya stood at a school podium accepting early graduation honors. Her speech echoed beyond the schoolyard. We don't choose where we're born, but we choose what we become. And sometimes the smallest spark burns down the biggest empire. In a glass case at the new Layla Community Center next to her mother's journal and the original Gemini files sits the ruby ring. The sign reads, "Relics of the past. Not to mourn what was lost, but to remember what was found." And Maya? She kept the silver ring her uncle made for her. No gemstones. No secrets. Just a reminder that she had forged her own name not from power or blood, but from the truth. Elijah's hand trembled slightly as he took Amara's. The touch was brief, but powerful. A quiet recognition passed between them, something deeper than DNA echo of shared silence, of memories stolen and rewritten. The kind of connection that didn't need proof to feel true. Victoria stepped forward, eyes shining. The project was called Gemini for twins, she said slowly, but they always hinted at a third of failsafe. A final version in case both of us became unstable. Chris nodded grim. My father didn't believe in chance. He planned layers of control. One heir for business. One for genetic leverage. One as the clean slate. Elijah lowered his eyes. I always thought there was something wrong with me. Like I wasn't supposed to be here. I'd wake up from dreams of places I'd never been, metal beds, cold hallways, white lights. And now I know why. Amara pulled out the ruby ring from its velvet case on the shelf nearby and placed it gently on the table between them. This ring started everything, she said. But now that we're all here, it's not just about the past anymore. It's about what we're going to do next. Chris pulled a chair back and motioned for Elijah to sit. He looked at the documents again and then turned to Amara and Victoria. There's one more thing we need to know, Chris said carefully. The files said the third prototype Elijah was the only one who might carry the full sequence of the Reynolds genetic enhancement plan. If that's true, then Elijah isn't just our brother. He's the key, Victoria finished for him. Elijah looked up. Key to what? To shutting down the next phase, said Chris. Later that night, in a sealed conference room deep beneath the Sunshine Foundation, the original Project Gemini files were projected on the walls. Olivia sat with her laptop open, decoding what she could. Matthew, silent but sharp-eyed, leaned against the wall reviewing floor plans of a now-defunct biotech subsidiary known only as Virion. A map showed a large facility in Montana hidden under the name of a renewable energy center but tagged in one confidential memo as origin. That's where the records lead, Olivia said, her voice tight. It's where they took the children they couldn't use right away. The ones they thought might be too risky. It's where they buried the truth. Chris's jaw clenched. And now it's where we go. Amara nodded. We don't just bring them down from a courtroom. We walk into the last place they thought we'd dare go. Victoria added. We expose what's still happening. If there are more like Yusuf, there are more children who were taken. We don't stop until they're free too. They looked at each other, three siblings once lost, now aligned. And one brother who had always thought he was alone, now surrounded by the family he never imagined he'd find. Chris stood. We fly to Montana tomorrow. 3 days later, the Reynolds Foundation held a press conference claiming to turn a new page after Richard Reynolds' fall. Behind closed doors, however, lawyers and board members scrambled as documents began leaking across major media outlets, internal memos, email chains, bribes, and lists of classified locations used by the Gemini program. At the same time, Amara, Victoria, and Elijah, protected by a team of federal agents and David Reeves' legal firm, stepped into the Montana facility disguised as journalists filming a documentary on energy sustainability. The facility had long been decommissioned. Or so they were told. Inside, the cold scent of ammonia and bleach still lingered. The walls, though freshly painted, bore signs of past use. They passed a room labeled Behavioral Observation Wing. Another called Neurological Analysis. And finally one marked Archive, Experimental Units. In a metal drawer at the back of the archive, Amara found what no one wanted to admit might still exist: a list of children's names. Each one assigned a project code. Some marked deceased. Others unknown. One name had been circled twice, e.g. 247C. Elijah Gray. Next to it, scribbled in faded ink, viable. Recovered memory stream active. Amara stepped back, heart pounding. They knew he remembered. Victoria's hand reached out and found a hidden compartment in the wall behind the filing cabinets. Inside, in a sealed glass case, sat dozens of vials. DNA samples, each labeled not by name but by number. Elijah looked down at the case. They kept us here like specimens. Chris's voice came through their hidden earpiece. We've got everything. Pull out now. FBI is inbound. But just as they turned to leave, the lights flickered. Then a voice crackled through the speaker system, cold, artificial, and unmistakably familiar. You can't delete legacy with idealism. Richard Reynolds. Amara froze. He's watching. Chris's voice sharpened. Get out. Now. They emerged from the facility just as federal agents stormed the compound, seizing every file, drive, and sample in the building. A black SUV waited for them on the gravel road leading back to the airstrip. Inside the car, Elijah sat silently, holding a flash drive Victoria had hidden in her jacket. I don't want to be anyone's project, he said. Not theirs. Not even ours. Amara took his hand. You're not, she said. You're our brother. That's all that matters. Victoria added. And from now on, we don't just fight back. We build.